I'm so over the bad boy who's mysterious and smokes and is like climbing through windows. I'm over it. Give me the good guy. Give me Hunter. Someone who is, you know, he's got his head screwed on. He knows what's happening. He knows where he's going. Sawadee to Konka. Dajahao. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Yeah. In today's video we are doing another mixed review. Today it is Ginny and Georgia. If you're interested in just the mixed race section, there are timestamps down below so you can check out that part if you don't want to hear the full thing. What is Ginny and Georgia? So Ginny and Georgia is a Netflix show. It has 10 episodes and it centers around Ginny, who is a 15/16-year-old teenager who is kind of navigating school, life, being mixed race. It's got a nice crime sprinkling when it comes to Georgia, which was the hook that kept me coming back. First off, we have Ginny and Georgia and their mother-daughter relationship. Personally, I adore Georgia, the mother. As a person, she's not a great person. As a mother, she's a fantastic mother. I feel like she went above and beyond, and Ginny just kind of was very, very ungrateful. This may not be a popular opinion, but I personally didn't like Georgia. Her relationship with her mother was one of the reasons I was not a fan of her character and how she was written. Her mother literally provides everything for her. She murdered someone to protect Ginny, as in she murdered her husband, who's RIP, but you know. He looked like he was going to be trying to abuse Ginny, so, and still Ginny found problems. Ginny was still like, oh, but why didn't I meet my grandparents? Oh, you mean the same grandparents that knew George was being abused but did nothing about it, forced Georgia to run away, and you're now wondering why she doesn't want you to meet these same people who allowed abuse. Make it make sense, Ginny. And I think one reason why I couldn't really have a lot of sympathy for her, for Ginny that is purely because of the way she was so insensitive towards her mother. And then I couldn't tell if this is just me now being old and siding with the adults, but I just wasn't here for the teen angst, my life is a train crash, oh my god everyone hates me vibe that Ginny kept giving off. One thing that I do wish was more present in the mother-daughter relationship was the conversation of race, because there was a lot of times that Ginny would mention stuff like, is this racist, is that racist, and Georgia would kind of like sweep it under the carpet and oh it's fine, don't worry about it, sort of thing. So I really wish there was a bit more dialogue around Ginny's race, how that is impacting her, how she has a different experience going through life compared to her mother and her younger brother. Moving on to Mang, the worst friendship group I think I've ever seen. So we start off our interaction with this group by them peer pressuring Ginny into stealing from a shop. Then Ginny gets caught stealing and Ginny thinks, fabulous idea, I'm going to be friends with these girls that threw me under the bus and acted like they weren't there stealing too. What possibly could go wrong? Spoiler, everything. These have to be the most unsupportive, unhelpful, unkind friends I witnessed. They had their friends going through turmoil. For example, when Abby had her issues with her parents divorcing, she was clearly reaching out and like, hey, is anyone free to hang? Is anyone free to hang? And then even when she brought it up and was like, listen, my parents are divorcing, this is like the worst week that's ever happened. You had Max saying, well, I'm not a virgin anymore. You had Ginny saying, well, I mean, my life was also bad this week. And I can't remember what the other one said, I'm not gonna lie. But the point was, your friend is going through this thing, your issues take a back seat. We're not saying we can't deal with your issues, we're not saying your issues aren't as important, but for right now, listen to your friend. And for example, with Ginny and her hair situation, when they combed the hair out at that sleepover party, and Ginny was like, yeah, like, don't comb it because, you know, it's curls. And they're like, no, we're gonna comb it anyway. And they combed it and it went, kind of like how my hair looks today. And then they started to laugh and I was like, this isn't a funny situation. I think their whole friendship group was very surface level. However, when I'd finished watching it and I looked back on the way the friendship group was, it was kind of reminiscent of some of my friendships at school. And I was like, actually, maybe this is realistic. Maybe this is just me and the people I know, that a lot of secondary, so we would say secondary school, high school, friendships are surface level. You're not really that close, and you'll find that once you've finished school, you don't speak to them again. Like, that's it. We're no longer in each other's faces every day. We're no longer friends. And that is very reminiscent of what this friendship, the Mang group, is like. And I can really, really see that they wouldn't be friends as soon as they finished school and they moved on to university. And then moving on to Ginny, the star of the show, and her attitude. There was not an episode that went by where I wasn't annoyed at her attitude. She's very much in fight mode. The thing that really does annoy me with her attitude and the way she's been written is I agree with what she's saying sometimes, but it's just the way she says it is then like, you've lost me. And I think another thing that really frustrated me is that no matter what the issue was, she found a way for it to not be her fault, and 9 times out of 10 it was Georgia's fault. Like, in her head, the mum gets abused, but that translates to, why did you hide my grandma from me? The dad Zion leaves because he sees that Georgia is happy with Paul, but this translates into Georgia pushing Zion out. And then the last point about Ginny's attitude I wanted to discuss was Hunter. May he rest, because she did him so dirty. She did him so dirty. She was so rude to him, so horrible to him. Whether or not she wanted to date him, I don't know, because she was very much pushed into going on the date. However, if you didn't want to be with Hunter, just break up with him, because at that age it's not that deep. I felt very sorry for him when they had done the essay competition and he had won, she had lost, and she basically rained on his parade and was like, well, you only won because the teacher's racist. And then when she started to be really racist towards Hunter, that again, I was just like, Ginny. She seemed to think that because she's half black and he's half Asian, that her problems were worse than his, which I felt was very, very unfair, because she's in no position to tell him how he feels, just like he's in no position to tell her how she feels. When they had their little, what was it, the Oppression Olympics, wild, and then they were kind of throwing off with stereotypes of each one, like, oh well, you don't do this, and oh well, you don't do this. We have to remember that these are teenagers. You've just been hurt by someone, you're gonna lash out. Him hitting back in the way he did didn't surprise me. Don't get me wrong, neither of them were right in their approach and what they had said. I will also say that I do love that Hunter knew his worth at the end and was like, listen, I'm worth better than this, and walked off. And now the part that we've all been waiting for, the mixed race experience element. Now I have a lot to say, a lot. So the first one was the microaggressions we saw. The first one we saw in episode 1 when Ginny was filling up the car with petrol and a police officer was kind of like side-eyeing her. Ginny made the point of, was it racist? Was it not racist? And again, this is a prime example of when Georgia, as a mother, could have had a discussion about microaggression, about race, about what to expect. This was one scene where I myself wasn't sure if it was racism or not, because at first I was like, yeah, he's only looking at her because she is non-white and she's got a car that's nice. But then I thought about it and I thought, well, if I was at a petrol station and I saw a 16 or 15, 16-year-old with a super nice soft top BMW, Mercedes, whatever it was, and it looked like a 19, 20 or 21 plate, I'm going to be staring as well, because I'm going to be thinking, how the hell do you have that car at that age? For that scene, I was very much on the fence. For context, so I'm coming at this from a British perspective, and over here, it is very, 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 very rare to see a 17-year-old with a 20 or 21 plate car. When I say plate, I mean like the registration plate. And when I say 2021, that means the car was made in 2020 or 2021, because our number plates tell you what year the car was made. Fun facts there. The Because here, the youngest we can drive is 17, so you're normally driving a banger. So yeah, I would be equally surprised if I saw a young kid driving a 21 plate. The second microaggression we saw, or racial profiling, was when she was stealing from the shop and she was the only one that got singled out. And the reason why I thought this was quite a good scene and example was Ginny herself said something like, "Is it racism if I did do it?" Which I think was quite funny. But the fact that the woman only searched Ginny definitely was like, no, it's racial profiling, it's racism. The woman should have searched all of them. If you've got a suspicion that one stole, why don't you have a suspicion that the rest stole? But again, I wish Georgia had spoken more about it with Ginny. One thing that is very accurate was that there were people at school, like some of her friends as well, would make wild stereotypical statements about being mixed race and other things like that, and Ginny would say nothing. However, I do appreciate that at that age you're very much worried about being ostracized. One of the friends said, "I'm gonna have a black boyfriend or husband so that my children are mixed race." I'm like, ooh. This is a statement I have heard a lot when I was at school. I do not agree with this statement, obviously, because we're not accessories, darling. We're not these pedigree poodles that you can, you know, go to a breeder and say, "Oh, I want one. This is what I want it to look like." No, we are people. So I did like the fact that they included that into the storyline, because for me personally, it is very realistic and it is something that a lot of mixed race people are likely to hear. I did really enjoy her and Hunter discussing their experiences as being mixed race. This is exactly what I do with my mixed race friends. We will be sort of discussing the stereotypical things we hear, so I did really appreciate that scene. One sort of subtle scene I did like as well was her straightening her hair. I always wanted to straighten my hair when I was younger. My parents refused until I was about her age actually, and then they finally said, "Okay, you can straighten your hair," like once. I really did like seeing her straighten her hair, and I did really enjoy seeing Georgia say that she preferred Ginny's natural hair and natural curls. There was also the classic 2 black for the white group, 2 white for the black group line used in the show. Whilst I agree this is a very common issue, and I have mentioned it in previous videos, I disagreed with Ginny using it, because both groups were happy for you to be there. Again, we've had the issues with Mang, let's not get back on them. She was able to be in both groups, she just chose not to. So that's a you problem at this point. Now moving on to the assessment and the microaggressions that she was facing from her teacher, the English teacher. It really annoyed me that she said the only reason she didn't get it was because she was black. The rules were write an essay. An essay has an introduction, it has a body, it has a conclusion. You were out here doing slam poetry. If the competition was creative writing, write a poem, sure, hands down you'd win. The poem was fire. The assignment was to write an essay. You did not do that. Just let Hunter win, let him have this win. We'll get the next one. It's fine, we'll get the next one. And then with the teacher, I 100% agree. He was racist. He had so many microaggressions, it was insane. For example, when he said about not saying the N-word and he goes, "Right, Ginny?" Like, what do you expect Ginny to say? "Yeah, right." No, you shouldn't be saying it. You don't need a non-white person to say, "Yes, that is true, you shouldn't say that." You should just know not to say that. The final point about the mixed race experience and also her identifying as black is the end, when she becomes friends with the black girl and the black group. I wanted to jump through the screen. Let me tell you why. This girl, the black girl, let me Google her name. Cast and characters. Who writes these Wikipedia entries? Well, I know it's people, but they've not put in the name of the black character. Well, I tried. For the whole school year, the black girl has been trying to get Ginny to join them. She has been trying to get her to join leadership, to join the other stuff that you need for the college applications. I don't know. And Ginny was like, nah, I'm good. Oh no, I'm good. Thank you. I'm good. I'm good. And then now at the end, because your other friends have left you, you want to come crawl over to the woman who's been trying to help you the whole season. I was raging. I was like, don't even give Ginny the time of day, because she didn't want you when you were asking her, but now no one else wants her. She wants you. Not on my watch. Not on my watch. Maybe this is just a difference between American schools and British schools. Let me know down below if what I'm about to say is true or not. Is it a case where you can only be in one friend group? Because me at school, I was in like multiple friend groups. If I was Ginny, I would have just been friends with both groups. Like, I don't see why she felt the need that she had to almost pick a group. You know, there is the option for multiple friends. You could have been in multiple friendship groups. And scene. My overall thoughts are Ginny and Marcus will 100% be endgame. We know this. Georgia and Joe had better be endgame, okay? Their story is too cute. He named his horse Milkshake. Need I say more? We need them to be together ASAP. I did like some of the mixed race storylines. I love seeing mixed race representation in any form. So I did enjoy seeing a mixed race character as the protagonist. We knew her mum was white and her dad was black. It was none of this ambiguous, is she, isn't she, could she not be? No, it was in your face, she is what she is. For me, the way Ginny was written completely ruined it. I want my time back, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like the good parts of Ginny Georgia could have been put into like 2 to 3 episodes. The whole 10 episodes was wasting my time. I just wasn't a fan. If they did a series about Georgia and Georgia's life and Georgia being a criminal, I'm all over it. So let me know down below what you thought of Ginny and Georgia. But as always, smash the like, the share and the subscribe. Join this family. If you have any recommendations for mixed race shows, films, whatever that you think I should watch and review, please do drop it down below. As always, have a blessed day, and until next time, Sawadee Tok Konka, Zaijian. Goodbye everyone.